double your blanket up so you have maybe a little bit at the end here for your shoulders. And when you bring the chair underneath your legs, have the knees as close to over the hips as you can. Let your arms rest by your sides. I'm just going to give this a couple more moments for everyone to get there. Okay. Bring your attention to your breath. Just notice how it feels moving through your body. Then on the next exhale, exhale completely. And inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 3, 2, 1. Inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a couple more Samaviti breaths. Evening out the rhythm of the inhale and exhale. And then spread your toes super duper wide, like as wide as you can. Don't forget the pinky toes. And then smush them all together. And spread them wide as you can. And smush them together. And spread. And smush. And spread. Even the pinky toes. And then smush. And then roll the ankles around a little bit. Then draw your right knee in towards your belly, and I want you to clasp behind the right thigh. And then dorsiflex that ankle and reach through the heel. The leg doesn't have to straighten, but I would like it to press into the hands, like you're going to push it down towards the floor. And then from here, extend through the top of the foot. And then draw the toes back. In fact, draw the whole forefoot back. And press through the top of the foot. And draw the toes back. And press. And draw the toes back. And press. And draw the toes back. Then soften the knee, let the arms come down and shake the leg around. You can rotate the knee in and out some. And release. Take the foot back to the chair, or the lower leg back to the chair. Then draw the left knee in towards the belly and interlace your fingers behind that thigh. And reach through the heel. And again, it doesn't matter if the leg straightens, but push the back of the thigh into the hands. Then press through the toes, stretching the top of the foot, and then draw the toes back, reaching up through the heel, and press through the toes, and then draw them back and reach up through the heel, and press, and draw the toes back, and press, and draw the toes back. Then soften the knee, release the hands, and shake the leg, and then rotate in and out. Shift on to your favorite side and rest your head in your arms. Then with an inhale, reach through the top foot to come up. I'm really just going to have you up long enough to move this chair out of the way. So shift the chair out of the way and come back to supine with the knees bent. Still have the head and shoulders supported. Then letting the arms rest to the side, I want you to take the low back down and into the floor, using the low belly, not the legs. Like Halloween cat for just the lumbar spine. Then move the sits bones towards the floor. So your cheeks are going to go towards the floor, and your whole back is going to lift up and away from the floor like you're coming into cow pose. Then go the other direction. Low belly, move the spine into the floor, and then push down with the sits bones, with the backs of the hips, and lift the whole spine up. Good. And then one more time, low belly moves the spine into the floor, and then press down through the hips to lift the spine up. And then wiggle back into neutral spine. Take both of your arms up and shift. Try to keep your shoulders in line with your wrists. Shift them over to the right side. And maybe that left hip is going to come off the floor a little bit. Maybe you feel the left hip want to come up. All right, now we're going to go back the other direction, but I want you to move that left cheek down. Try not to take the arms around. Move the left cheek down, and you'll squeeze out the side of the right side a little bit more, and then come all the way back up and let your head rest in center. And then we're going to go to the second side. So as if you're holding a block. You could hold a block if you wanted to. Shift over to the left side. Try to keep the wrists even and the shoulders and the wrists in the same line. Now, take that right cheek and move it down towards the floor. Move it down, move it down, move it down until the rest of the torso has to come with it. And pause in the center and let your head rest. So one more time each side. Come out and over to the right. Again, as if you're holding a block. Then the left cheek moves down. Squeeze out a little more the right side and come all the way up to center. And then go over to the second direction and move that opposite cheek down and come all the way up to center. Then release your arms. Let your legs swing side to side or your knees swing side to side. Then shift onto your side so that you can see the screen. We're going to do both sides, but I want you to start in a way that you can see the screen. And then the next side, you can roll away from the screen. And then tuck your blanket up so that it supports your head better. And then press through both feet like you're coming into Utkatasana, but we're on our sides, coming into mountain pose on our sides. And then turn those top toes up. And as you do that, I want you to engage the bottom cheek. So open this hip by squeezing the cheek. Turn the top toes up and bring the foot to tree pose along the leg. Now drive that knee up and take the foot all the way to the floor behind you. Don't let go of the bottom cheek, and the top cheek is working as well. And drive the knee up and take the foot to the floor in front. And drive up and foot comes to the floor behind. And drive up and back to the front. Then bring the foot up and onto the lower leg, right? Or it can go to the knee, whichever is fine. Now, you're going to have this top arm out in front of you like a buttress. Dorsiflex that bottom ankle. Hug the bottom leg up to lift that tree leg. And let it slide back down. And bring the bottom leg up. And let it slide back down. And the bottom leg floats up. And slides down. And floats up. And slides down. All right, release that top leg. Roll onto your back. Take a breath. And we're going to shift around to the next side. So starting out in that side lying, kind of Tadasana, because we fall over a little bit, the ribs towards the floor. But you can take the top leg up, right, to help really find length through the front of the hips. And then take the top arm out in front of you. Now from here, I want you to find this bottom cheek. So use that bottom cheek to open the front of the hip. And then turn the top toes up. And then bring that top shin up and come into tree pose. Don't let go of that bottom leg, especially the back of the bottom leg. Now the top leg, drive that knee up and take the foot to the floor behind. And bring it up and to the floor in front. And up and behind and up and in front. Now come up and all the way to tree pose. Don't let go of the back cheek, that bottom cheek. Hug the bottom leg up and set it down. And hug it up and set it down and hug it up and set it down and hug it up and set it down. Good. And then release. Lay on your back a moment. If you want, you can send the blanket out of the way. Shake your legs around. Then shift on to your favorite side and rest your head in your arms. And with an inhale and as little effort as possible, press up to seated. Shift forward straight away into tabletop and let your hips swing side to side. Then again, a little bit, just the low back lifts up towards the ceiling. And then tip the pelvis towards the floor. And just the low back goes up towards the ceiling. And then tip the pelvis towards the floor. Now, just the low back goes up towards the ceiling. And then keep rolling right through the rest of the spine to come up into high hollowing cat. And in high hollowing cat, really push down through the base of the thumb and the base of the forefingers and elongate the back of the neck. Then from here, tuck the toes under and lift the hips up into downward facing dog. Now in downward facing dog, take up some space. And immediately begin to play with your ankles. Lift the heels up. And then let them soften towards the floor. And lift the heels up. And let them soften towards the floor. And again, up. And drop. Now bring them up. This time as they drop, walk your hands all the way back to your feet. Bend ankles, knees, and hips. Rest your belly on your thighs. Hang forward. And inhale, push through the feet to come up and reach up, Urdhva Hastasana. And exhale, release and swing. And then go ahead and just keep shaking out your hands. And then your elbows. And then swing for your shoulders. Then bring your arms up. Bend ankles, knees, and hips. Take the sits bones back. And then push through the feet to come up. As you come up, open the front of the hips. And again, bend ankles, knees, and hips. Coming way down into Utkatasana. And then press through the feet to come up. And then this time, push through the big toe to lift the heels up. And bend ankles, knees, and hips. And press to come up. And bend ankles, knees, and hips. And press to come up. Then release and let the arms swing. Shift your weight onto your left leg and shake out your right ankle. And knee. And then hip. And go for that rotation at the hip joint. Good. Love that. All right, and then ankle, and knee, and hip. Get the tissue shaking around the femur. Good. Now send your right leg forward. We're going to work on the inversion and eversion. Draw the big toe and the inner heel up towards the groin. Yeah? So that way. And let the rest of the foot wrap. And then you're going to go the other direction. Go out. And in. And out. Remember, standing legs, a breathing leg. In. And out. And in. And out. And in and out. Good. And release. Shake that leg out a little bit. That was nice. Give the hip flexors some work. And then we take the second leg forward. Now, the big toe and the inner heel pull up. And we're trying to do this without rotation on the hip. I'm not really seeing any of that, so that's great. But I thought I should point that out.
And then pinky toe and outer heel lift. And big toe and inner heel lift. And pinky toe and outer heel lift. And up to the inside edge. And then go out and in and out. Good. And then release. Take that wide, comfortable stance. Reach the arms up. Bend ankles, knees, and hips. Maybe come all the way down this time. And then press through the feet to come up, lifting the heels off the floor. And bend ankles, knees, and hips. And come up. I almost actually fell backwards that time. And bend ankles, knees, and hips. And come up. Good. Take the arms out and release and swing. All right, grab your chair and take it over to the right side of you. And grab your strap. With your hands. Take your right foot up and onto the chair. And you're going to make a bit of a lasso with the strap. So this, okay, I really thought everyone would have a yoga belt. If you don't have a yoga belt, you're going to have to hold this with both hands when you come over. But if you have a yoga belt, you make like a little lasso and it's going to go around your foot. All right, standing leg, there's no pushing back through the knees. Push the heel down and isometrically just lift the hip up. It's going to make the cheek work when you do that. All right, now you're going to take this strap forward and out to the side. Now you're going to push down with that foot and lift the arm up. And this can be more forward if that bothers the shoulder or up towards the ear. Now work on straightening that top arm. We're really side bending. I promise you, we'll get some hip flexion here soon. Right now we're just really side bending. And then maybe use a little bit of leverage with this bottom arm to lift and spin the chest open. Take a couple breaths here. Squeeze the cheek on that standing leg, right? No just kind of casually hanging out there. It's part of this whole sideline opening. Drop down into the outer heel. Push into the big toe. And then shift forward to release and come up. Now just, you can drop the strap or hold it in the other hand. And you're just going to take a few bends, ankle, knee, and hip. And then root into that heel to come up. And bend ankle, knee, and hip. And come up. And bring the knee in and out. And in and out. Good. And then release. Now you have one leg longer than the other. So you got to fix this. One side body longer, one leg longer. We're all crooked. Okay. Go to the second side. Take your foot up the chair. And then you have no idea how much I love saying lasso in yoga class. Lasso your foot. Actually, some of you do know how much I love the idea of saying lasso. You know me a little. All right. Now, use this cheek. Yeah, open the front of the hip, and it's as if it's lifting you up, just like when you were up on the balls of the feet. Yeah, and then this arm, I started a little bit low, and then you can just slide up, right? So you're going to take your forearm to your thigh, and then slide that strap arm up. Now, the foot is anchoring it, but try to lift the strap up towards the ceiling. Don't forget the cheek on the standing leg. And take a few breaths here, and maybe even begin to press into that forearm to spin the chest open. Remember, if it's bothering the shoulder, take the arm forward and still do the spin. You'll get a wonderful opening. Oh my gosh, you're kidding, Sarah. And exhale to come forward. And release the strap. You can drop it or just hold it in the opposite hand. And heel down, shin forward. Now we go for these nice deep angles. And come up. And heel down, shin forward. And up. And heel down, shin forward. Really have a nice deep bend to come up. And heel down, shin forward and up. And then take the knee in and out and in and out. Good. And then release. Move the chair out of the way. Come up to the short end of your mat. Reach up, Urdhva Feel all that length we just made on those side bodies. And exhale, fold forward. Good. Ankles, knees, and hips. Take some weight into your hands. Push through the base of the thumb and the base of the forefingers. Lift the whole spine up toward the ceiling. And then step back to downward facing dog. A little anticlimactic. Push your feet down and lift your hips up. And push your hands down and lift your hips up. Now on the next inhale, press through your feet to come forward, high plank, high push-up position. Tops of the thighs go up and back. Push the floor away from you and draw your chest forward. Take a couple big breaths here. Then on the next exhale, you can bring knees to the floor and bellies to the floor. Now, take your arms way out to the sides. Come up on spider fingers. Reach long through your right leg and reach long through your left leg and squeeze a little bit the upper back together. So you're lifting your elbows up and towards each other and up and towards each other. Then on the next inhale, roll the heads of the arm bones back. Lift the elbows up and pull the chest forward, coming into this really wide spider-like baby cobra. All right, now roll just the right shoulder back and twist to the right. And as you twist to the right, really press well through the left fingertips. And take a couple breaths here. Then come through center. And then roll the left shoulder back and press through the right fingertips. And take a couple breaths here. So we're going really slow with this today. And then roll right shoulder back. Push through the left fingertips, especially the thumb side of the hand. And come through center. And then go second side. Roll the head of the arm bone back. And press, especially through the thumb side. And release. Let your hands rest. Stack them. And let your forehead rest on your hands. And take a few breaths. Sacrum, low back, back ribs. And then again, inhale into the sacrum, the low back, and the back ribs. Then reach long through your legs. Slide your hands by your side so that your wrists are underneath your elbows and curl your chest forward. Baby cobra. Tuck the toes under. Come all the way up. Either come right from tabletop to down dog or move back through the prone squat into downward facing dog, keeping the shoulders long. Hands push down, hips lift up, release the back of the neck. Good. Feet push down, hips lift up. And then bring your knees all the way down to the floor. All right, come to seated. You thought we were going to skip the sideline opening. you were mistaken. Or the sideline opening, it's not opening, working. It opens at the end, but it's working. All right, so much for my joke. Totally bombed it. In my defense, it's like 5 million degrees. And I'm tired. Okay, so sideline squats. The most important thing about this is that you're not using that bottom shoulder as a kickstand. So I want you to really push up and out of the shoulder with it, right? To start, you can take the top hand to the top hip, and I literally just have my legs in Utkatasana, yeah? Just so you see the angles, yeah? Like I'm just doing Utkatasana with feet together. All right, then from here, push down into the forearm to move the hips forward and up. And then sits bones go down and back. Good. And hips move forward and up, opening the front body. And sits bones go down and back. Okay, so everyone did a really great job with that. There's more coming, yeah? On Tuesday, we played with the spinning towards the floor and moving away from the floor, yeah? We're going to add that, and then there's going to be a bonus prize if you would like it, okay? All right, so now from the squat, and you can keep going up and down if that's more appropriate for you. You're going to push into the forearm, lift the hips up, and take that top arm up. Now make sure you're pressing out of the bottom arm. Now spin just the thoracic spine so the chest comes around towards the floor. And then spin back up to lift it a little more towards the ceiling. And chest comes around towards the floor. And spin back up. Now, if you want a bonus prize, extend the top leg. Chest comes towards the floor and spin to come up. And chest goes towards the floor and spin to come up. Then release, come all the way down. Come up to seated, and I want you to reach up with your left arm and just side stretch over to the right. Now let's do the side that just got a whole lot of work. Reach up your right arm and side stretch to the left. Great. So activation is a way to get release. Yeah, and that can often feel like a good one. All right, second side. That's my way of trying to convince you it was all worth it. Okay. All right, from Utkatasana. Inhale, have the hips move forward and up. And then sits bones go down and back. And hips come forward and up. And down and back. Right, so now same thing here is the twisting, and you can choose to just keep going up and down or pause at any time. So come forward and up, really press out of that bottom shoulder and maybe take the top arm up, and then spin the chest towards the floor, and then back up towards the ceiling, and towards the floor, and maybe towards the ceiling. All right, bonus prize, leg goes out towards the floor and to the ceiling and towards the floor and towards the ceiling. And then soften ankles, knees, and hips and release. Good, come all the way up. Now you're gonna go over to the left side first. And come up through center, and right side, and center. Good. Shift forward onto your hands and knees. Walk your arms a little bit forward and your legs a little bit backwards. Tuck your toes under and come up into downward facing dog. Hands push down, hips lift up. Feet
push down, hips lift up. Now, as the feet push down and the hips lift up, I want you to begin to descend your heels, even if that's only a thought. It doesn't have to actually happen. But invite the ankles to soften as if you're lifting your 4 feet up. Then on the next exhale, drop the heels towards the floor as you walk your hands back to your feet. Bend ankles, knees, and hips and hang forward. And inhale, push down into your feet to reach up. Urdhva Hastasana. Then exhale, bend ankles, knees, and hips and walk back out. High plank, high push-up position. Reach through your heels. Tops of the thighs go up towards the ceiling. Pull your chest forward. Take a couple breaths here. Then exhale, knees to the floor, bellies to the floor. Reach through the belly side of the body. Move long from the navel to the toes, and then move long from the navel to the sternum to curl into baby cobra. Maybe tuck your toes under and go up and back to downward facing dog. Hands push down, hips lift up. Feet push down, hips lift up. Now press really well through the left foot and take the right foot forward to the outside edge of the hand. Drop the back heel towards the floor and bring your right hand either to the shin or to the forearm. Okay. Top arm comes up and back and just make a big circle. And as it goes back, it might pull you up a little bit. And then slide the arm to the ear and come up and back. So another big circle with the shoulder. And then slide the arm to the ear. Now, reach as low as you can with that right hand and take the left arm up and back. Straighten the right leg, coming up into Utkatasana. Good. Back leg, outside edge of the back heel down. Big toe down, front leg, big toe presses, outer top hip moves up and back. Yep, you got it. And then exhale, bend the front knee, lift the back heel, take the hands to the floor, and go back to downward facing dog. Hands push down, hips lift up, feet push down, hips lift up. And then we go second side. Press through the right foot. Take the left leg wide and forward. Take the outside edge of that left foot to the floor and bring your hand, your left hand, your front leg is your left leg. Hand to your shin or forearm to thigh, whichever you need to do. Sweep this top arm up and to the top ear, and then keep it going back and let that spin the chest open. And bring it down towards the hip. And to the ear, reach it back, spin the chest open, and come back down. Now this time, as it goes up, straighten that leg. Straighten that leg, outer back heel down, open the top of the thigh, and move the heart forward. Don't even worry about looking towards the ceiling, right? That does nothing really for the neck. If you want to look towards the ceiling, do it dynamically. Look up and down. Then from here, bend the front ankle to bend the knee. Bring the hands to the floor and step back into downward facing dog. Hands push down, hips lift up, feet push down, hips lift up. Then lift your hips up and bring your knees all the way to the floor.
Come to kneeling. And take your right foot forward. And then out to the side. Extend that right leg and sweep up with the left arm. Now roll the shoulder back on the right shoulder back. Just to get the elbow out of the way and come out and over. Keep lifting up. Keep lifting up. Push down through the back shin and lift up as you bend out and over. Then on the next inhale, come up. Now you're going to reach with your right arm. Yeah? Roll the head of the left shoulder back. So now we're spinning a slightly different direction. And reach and reach and reach and reach for the toes. Now heel pushes down. Begin to draw those toes up towards the fingertips. So dorsiflex even more. And release to come up. Good. Take the leg in and out. And we go next side. We take the left leg out to the side. Make sure your knee or your shin is supported. I see a little bit of bare knees, but this is tough on them. And then extend your left leg out. All right. Reach the right arm up. Now roll the head of the left shoulder back. Get that shoulder out of the way and come out and over, but just keep reaching up through that top arm. Reach up, grow even longer, push down through the standing shin, and reach. And come all the way up. Now we switch hands, roll the right shoulder back and reach through the left arm. Yeah? Heel pushes down, toes pull back towards the fingertips. Then on the next inhale to come up and release. All right, grab your strap. And you're going to come to seated. We're going to revisit these forward bends that we worked on Tuesday, but we're going to take them in a different direction today. Okay, so first start with them around your start with a strap around your lower legs. And this is not the tightest that this strap could get. You want to have a little bit of space and actually take the legs wider. It's sitting on the floor with your legs forward is not comfortable for you. It's much more about the leverage of the strap and not necessarily the narrowness of the legs. Right? You could also sit on a blanket. I think everyone here is okay with the floor sitting. All right, so take your fingertips behind you. Take your fingertips behind you and kind of pull your elbows back and away if you have a little extra room there. Push your heels down, press the tops of the thighs down, and try to stretch the strap wide. Keep all of that in the legs. There's no letting go of anything in the legs, and begin to press forward from the fingertips. Press forward. Yeah, press forward. All right, now the rounding is going to start with the lumbar spine, and then we'll work up. Right, there's often a desire to lead with the head. So now soften your belly, and then let the chest soften forward, and then let the head go. Don't forget the legs. Heels down, tops of the thighs down, hit out into the strap. Heels down, tops of the thighs down, hit out into the strap. Then on the next inhale, come up. And shake your legs out. Okay, now we'll do the top half. So now the strap is going to go center of the armpit to center of the armpit. So it might need to go a little bit wider. And you're going to take the strap around the wrists, and I have the back of the wrists pressing into the strap for this. And then again, my feet, heels down, tops of the thighs down. I'm going to draw the forefeet up towards my hips. Yeah. Now we're reaching. Yeah. So start with the arms up and go forward and forward and forward. Tops of the thighs down, heels down, pull the toes back. Then the softening begins at the lumbar spine. Let the low belly go and round. And then let the upper back go, but the shoulders are still reaching. Hit the hands out into the strap. Good, keep pressing the strap wide. Grow longer and longer and longer and longer. Then inhale to come all the way up. All right, come all the way up to standing any way you'd like. Take the strap and place it around the lower leg. Now here's where you can use either the floor or the chair on the second one. So we're gonna have hands on the hips for this first one, all right? So, no, you know what? I want you to put the chair right behind you. So if you tied your legs up, I'm very sorry. This is something you're seeing yoga invention happen right here. Probably someone else is already doing this, but for me, this is a yoga invention right now. I want you to have the chair right behind your calves, right? Because the tendency is to slide the hips back as we go forward. We're not going to do that. In fact, that's one of the things I was trying to think about how to cue when I was practicing today, and now it's going to be a non-issue. Okay. Now, before we even get started, you're going to take your hands to your hips. I want you to push your heels down and press the tops of your thighs up and back, right? I realize that this puts this in action, but I want this to be a little bit in action, all right? Roll the shoulders back, pull the elbows apart, and begin to hinge forward. And as you hinge forward, the heels drop deeper. Big toes down, heels drop. Big toes keep weight, heels drop. Big toes keep weight, hit out into the strap. Heels drop. Heels drop, press into the strap. Heels drop, press into the strap. Now once you get to parallel to the floor, then you can begin to start rounding. Soften the low belly and round forward. Release the back of the neck. Try not to push your chair away from you. Now push your heels down, lift your hips up, and press your thighs into the strap. Press your lower legs into the strap. Then from here, to come up, I want you to go heels down, shins forward, and come all the way up. All right, how'd that go? Was that a little harder than normal? Probably, yeah. Okay, so now, if you forward bend and you feel a little limitation with it, you can turn around and face the chair and put your hands on the chair. Otherwise, we're going to start reaching forward, all right? So now I want you to take the strap off of your legs and measure center of the armpit to center of the armpit again. Okay. So I'll show this both ways. Yeah. So now you start reaching up and come forward. And I want you to keep all the memories in the legs of the heels down, hips up. And then you can begin to hit out into the strap and send the chair forward. You can take the arms down, the legs of the chair. That's where blocks actually work better because you saw me have to avoid the chair with the strap. Or you can keep the chair behind you and we're going to reach the arms out on the floor in front of you. Yeah? So heels down, hips up, heels down, hips up, heels down, hips up. And then keep growing the fingertips long. And then we're going to add some different pressing actions here. Okay? All right. So here we go. Yeah, maybe have the chair right behind you if that was really interesting work for your legs. It probably was. Have the strap around your forearms down by the wrists. And then reach up. I'm touching the chair. Okay, now push your heels down and lift your hips up and begin to fold forward. Heels down, hips up. Heels down, hips up. So don't let those hips slide back. Heels down, hips up. Try to keep the legs straight. Heels down, hips up. Maybe the hands come to the chair, maybe to blocks, maybe to the floor. Right? Now, wherever they come, they need to be able to press into something. Now, push down with the fingertips, push down with the heels, hit out into the strap, and lift the hips up. Keep that action, keep that tensegrity running through the body, and breathe. Now, ankles, knees, and hips bend. Move the hands out of the strap and walk forward from wherever you are to high plank, high push-up position. Heels reach back, tops of the thighs lift up towards the ceiling, pull the chest forward. Then knees come to the floor and bellies come to the floor. Take your elbows out to the side, stack your hands, and then rest your forehead on your hands. Now roll around onto your back. And on the way, grab your blanket for underneath your head and get the chair set up underneath your legs. Have your chair hold your entire lower leg. Arms by your sides, palms up. Next exhale, exhale completely. And inhale for 4.
3, 2, 1. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Continue with your steady, even breath. And bring some gentle movement back into your body, starting with your toes and fingers. And begin to build your breath. Then bring your knees a little more towards your chest And shift on to your side, resting your head in your arms. Then reach through the top leg. Keep it connected to the floor. Press with your arms and come up to seated, bringing your head up once. Okay, you guys, namaste. Thank you so much. Of course. Yeah. Yeah, and that's where I said I'm just like a little I'm feeling fluffy up here this week. So the idea is that you keep your hips over your shoulder over your ankles. Yeah. Which I know for my body tonight, putting the chair there, because it was a little bit on the fly thinking. I was thinking about it while I was practicing, but I wasn't practicing with like the chair behind me. So I thought I was doing great, right? And I was like, how am I going to get them to do this? So like in my body, I'm seeing myself here. I'm like, I couldn't even straighten my knees. So I got a lot of information too from that. So it's the idea of trying to find that the elongation through the legs, the heels down, hips up, and keep the hips over the ankles, which is not so simple. Yeah.